focused on you.
Right now at 4, it's an ozone action day as temperatures heat up across the bi-state. You're taking a live look at a smoggy downtown St. Louis from our camera in the Central West End. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. If you've spent any time outside, you've noticed the heat and the humidity. And now add to that the poor air quality. Chief Meteorologist Scott Cotto now with your Weather First forecast.
And it's really due to that lack of wind across the area to move the pollution around and disperse it. So without that breeze that we really haven't seen much of this week, we continue to see problems with the air quality, particularly during the afternoon and evening hours. And you're seeing those levels now rise back into that orange area where it does become unhealthy for especially sensitive groups and those with lung issues. Now, take a look out in St. Charles. You can see traffic's on the roll. Of course, the commute just starting to pick up right now. That'll add more pollution to the atmosphere. Sun's still out, so we'll see that interact and make more ozone. So we will remain in that unhealthy for sensitive groups, which does include active adults and children who spend a lot of time outside anyway, plus those with lung disease. You should avoid doing any extraneous work outside during these hours. What else can you do to try to limit ozone? Well, we can reduce driving during the day, fill the gas tank after dark, and delay yard mowing and trimming. As far as rainfall goes, most of it's been out in mid-Missouri. There were a couple of little showers southeast of St. Louis. Having a hard time getting rain here. That's not going to change. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
Thank you, Scott. Don't forget you can stay on top of your Weather First forecast 24/7. Text the word weather to 314-425-5355. We'll send that right to your phone.
A little more than 24 hours after taking the oath of office, St. Louis's new circuit attorney is addressing whether he's a reform-minded prosecutor. Gabe Gore tells 5 on Your Side's Christine Byers he believes in a balanced approach.
There are no conditions under which a person can be released in which they won't pose a danger to themselves or the community. We're going to be seeking detention.
Gore says he's taken the circuit attorney's job to stabilize the office and address what he calls the violent crime crisis in our city. When asked his position on cash-only bonds for those charged, he says his office will address matters that come before it on a case-by-case basis. Gore takes over from Kim Gardner, who resigned earlier this month. She called herself a reform-minded prosecutor, a platform that won her elections twice, but some say one she failed to deliver. Hear Gore talk more about how he plans to run the office on 5 on Your Side at 5 and 6.
Well, some people in Glendale want to put a stop to plans to bring in a new car wash. In just a few hours, they will take their concerns straight to City Hall. 5 on Your Side's Travis Cummings is live there for us. Travis, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Brent, things are pretty quiet right now at City Hall, but that's just going to change in a couple of hours here at 6 this evening. We're expecting a large crowd to join in on the Plan Commission meeting to express their concerns about this car wash. And this space would be attached to a dealership on Manchester Road, a longtime dealership here. Neighbors have been going toe-to-toe with Merlo Automotive, which owns Glendale Chrysler, Jeep, Ram on Manchester for over 2 years now. Residents are trying to prevent the dealership from building what they say is an unneeded car wash behind the space. They believe it will dramatically change the character of the neighborhood. You see these signs up on lawns along Brookside Drive that would be right behind it. Glendale Chrysler Dodge Ram, which has been in the community since 1967, said in part, we're going to tell you about that in just a little bit, but hear from this resident that is just adjacent to where this proposed car wash is.
Kind of a nightmare. You know, it's going to be really loud. We've heard and gotten video recordings of the exact same car wash in different areas, and the noise pollution and taking down trees and everything. It's just it's really going to hurt the neighborhood if it goes through.
Yeah, we did hear from the dealership. They said, quote, "We have always done our best to make sure that we are beneficial partners for the city and its neighbors, and every improvement to our property has been conducted with our neighbors in mind." And we're going to hear a little bit more from them when we come back to you at 6. Again, that plan meeting is expected to start at 6. We're live in Glendale. Travis Cummings, 5 on Your Side.
All right, Travis, thanks. There's new information today about a homicide outside of a restaurant in North St. Louis. Officers were called to that shooting at St. Louis Kitchen on North Kings Highway just before 10 last night. They found 2 men shot. A man in his 30s died. The other was taken to the hospital. Due to a language barrier, there aren't many details about what led up to that shooting. Anyone with info should contact Crime Stoppers or police. Crime Stoppers can be reached at 866-371-TIPS.
The East St. Louis School District is mourning the loss of a teacher. District officials say Demario May died from injuries suffered in a motorcycle crash early Tuesday morning. He was a 2015 graduate of East St. Louis High School and went on to teach at James Avent Elementary School. School is making counselors available for students who need them today. Now to a developing story in Arkansas. Authorities say a missing ER doctor from southwestern Missouri died from an apparent gunshot wound. They're still investigating what happened in the week since Dr. John Forsyth was last seen. Yesterday, a kayaker found his body in Benton County, Arkansas. That's about 90 minutes from where his car was located in Cassville, Missouri. He was first reported missing May 21st when he failed to show up for work.
Well, in just a few hours, the U.S. House will start voting on a bill to raise the debt ceiling, the crucial vote that could avert a U.S. default next week. The bipartisan deal faces an uncertain outcome with opposition from the far right and far left members of Congress.
Our political editor Mark Maxwell is here with more details on what the debt ceiling debate could mean for your wallet. Mark?
Hey, and Brent, if you have federal student loans, you could have to start repaying them sometime this summer between August and October. Or if you rely on food stamps and can't find a part-time job, those will be cut for Americans ages 50 to 54. Those are two of the key reasons many Democrats may be opposing this plan, while some Republicans argue the spending cuts aren't deep enough.
On Capitol Hill, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is working to keep a fragile compromise intact.
Yes, I'm confident we'll pass the bill.
A bipartisan deal to remove the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling until after next year's presidential election faces opposition from the fringes of the far right and far left members of Congress.
I'm not sure what in the bill people are concerned about. It is the largest savings of $2.1 trillion we've ever had.
It's about taking food away from people who are hungry. It's about squeezing students on their loan payments.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries indicated as many as 68 Democrats could approve the plan that needs 218 votes to pass.
It's important for House Republicans to produce at least 150 votes. This is an agreement that they themselves negotiated.
We asked President Biden's White House what happens if the deal doesn't go through.
People would lose their jobs. People would lose value in their retirement accounts. It would be really quite devastating.
Congresswoman Cori Bush said she'll vote against the deal President Biden struck with House Republicans.
First of all, it's a bad deal. I've said it multiple times that I do applaud President Biden and the administration for what they were able to do.
Bush acknowledges the deal would expand social supports for veterans and foster kids, but says she cannot support a budget that slashes food stamps for poor people over 50 out of work.
But what we're doing is we're exchanging one vulnerable community for the next.
Michael Linden is the Executive Associate Director of President Biden's Office of Management and Budget.
The deal also includes real improvements to the SNAP program. Under this deal, veterans, people who are experiencing homelessness, and young people who have aged out of the foster care system are going to actually have better access to nutrition assistance than they do under current law.
Expect to see that big vote sometime around 7:30 Central tonight, and we'll have continuing coverage of the impact of this deal tomorrow on The Record at 3 o'clock on 5+.
We'll be looking forward to that, Mark. Still ahead, growing riders by stepping up security. Metro laying out a timeline for when and where it will make some big additions.
Transforming how we all access clean drinking water. Changes that will help humans and the environment, and when they're coming to your neighborhood.
And air travel can already be a stressful experience. The reason one airline now wants you to step on the scale before you board.
And the Komen More Than Pink Walk is fast approaching. Join me on June 10th in Tower Grove Park. Scott Connell will also be there in the Storm Tracker. You can register at komen.org/St. Louis Walk or text the word Komen to 314-425-5355 and we'll text you the link.